Hey, it's Matt. How are you? I am in Shibaura, Tokyo, which is a patch of reclaimed land that was built around the turn of the 20th century after they dredged out canals to allow cargo vessels and fishing boats to come in and offload close to the capital. It's near Tamachi Station, which is on the Yamanote line. And the reason I'm here is because this is the site of the subject of my latest essay in the Pure Invention newsletter, Juliana's Tokyo, a legendary discotheque that operated here for 3 years or so, from about 1991 through August of 1994, exactly 30 years ago today, which is why I'm writing about this now. I wanted to come to Shibaura because I'm looking for the location of where Juliana's used to be. It's around here somewhere. Interestingly, I actually lived here in Tokyo in 1993 and 1994 at the climax of Juliana's popularity. But I never actually went because it was a very opulent, decadent, classy, or déclassé, depending on your opinion, sort of place. And a scuzzy, poor, broke college student like myself and my friends never would have made it past the bouncer. Juliana's, there's a million, discos in Tokyo then and now, but Juliana's occupies a sort of special place in the Japanese zeitgeist, so to speak. One reason is because it symbolizes the end of the bubble era, that financial and real estate bubble when Japan felt its richest and was acting its richest on the global stage. Juliana's demise sort of parallels the vibe shift from when Japan's future was bright to when it was no longer so bright. Juliana's also is interesting because of the cultures that it introduced into Japan at large. One of which was musical. Juliana's was the first place many Japanese heard techno and trance and house music, thanks to a foreign DJ who they hired and spun tunes from Italy and Germany and the places where techno was really flourishing back then. But the other reason is more societal, and it's because Juliana's was the home of a subculture of women called gyaru, or gals. Gals were college students or young professionals who would, at night, go to Juliana's and trade their uniforms and things for these skin-tight bodycon mini dresses and dance the night away on elevated platforms at Juliana's. They represented in the Japanese mind independence, and they weren't dancing for the men, they were dancing for themselves. So this caused all sorts of criticism, naturally, from male Japanese society. The gyaru left, or changed when Juliana's closed its doors in 1994, but they paved the way for a new subculture of younger women called ko-gyals. And that's what I write about in my essay, which you should really check out, because the ko-gyals are the ones who introduced the world to things like emoji and texting and Facebooking and stuff like that. And I'm kind of looking for the place where that warehouse was. And I'm looking at Google Maps as I walk with you here. And, oh man, I found it. Wait a second, are you ready? This is it. This is it, are you ready? A parking lot. They killed Juliana's. They killed it. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. So this is where it was. This is where the entrance was on this side street here. And now it's just bicycle parking, cars, a very quiet street. Man, a lot of things happened here around 1993 and 1994. It's interesting to me because, I'm gonna get myself recentered here again. I said earlier that Juliana's was kind of seen as the face of Japan's bubble era. And the bubble era was this financially kind of like, Japan was like a financial tyrannosaurus. It was this like very decadent era. It lasted from about 1985 to 1990. 1990 is when the stock market finally crashed and the real estate market soon crashed with it. So on paper, the bubble was over. But on the streets, culturally, it took a little longer. There was kind of a bubble hangover. And Juliana's closing kind of coincided with the end of that. Like for average Japanese people, the bubble was still going on into the early 90s. When I lived here, it was still very, as the Japanese would say, bubbly. It felt like a very wealthy country. The yen was very strong against the dollar. It was at one point 96 yen to the dollar. So like my dollars didn't go very far here. And Japanese people were living large. I still remember on bulk garbage days, people would throw out like brand new TVs and radios and like turntables and things like that. And so it was a kind of, because they were buying new ones, like people were still consuming and buying new stuff. So it was a really interesting sort of time to be living in Japan. It was a time that feels very different from today when, you know, people are more interested in saving than spending. They're more interested in staying in than going out. But Juliana's, which used to be on this very spot that I'm walking by right here, was the kind of symbol of that bubble decadence. And when it closed down, I think it was a sort of signal that the bubble era was over. I write about this in a lot more detail in my newsletter. Please check it out. The link is going to be in the description below. And that's it. This is Shibaura, glorious Shibaura. I can't really say you should check it out because it's just an average, quiet little section of town, but if you're in Tokyo. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I'm looking forward to posting even more of this kind of content in the future, and see you next time.